All right, what's up, guys? We are back and we are going to work on the mini quad today. What I want to do is I want to see if I can't get this to stretch the rear axle or the rear swing arm. I got some steel, some scrap steel from a job site, and I think we can do something with it, but I'm not sure yet because that might be too thick. But we're gonna see. So first things first is I'm gonna get this thing set up on the bike stand. We're gonna try and take the chain off and we'll see what we can't mock up before we make any cuts. All right, so we're on the bike stand. I'm gonna take the chain off real quick and let's see what we can do. Okay, it looks like we need to take off the shock. I think a +4, a 4-inch stretch would be pretty good, I think. So if I do it, like from right here. Yeah, let's do a +4. So what my plan is I want to cut here, cut the swing arm off here, and then extend steel, and then make sure it overlaps on both sides. That way I can get a good weld on the steel around it. The steel that I'm using is way thicker than anything on this bike. So I'm not too concerned about it in terms of good support. It's going to be solid. So we'll go ahead and do that. I'm going to take the swing arm off first, and we'll cut it when it's off the bike. So let me see. All right. That was some work to get it up here. Take the shock off. Maybe. We're also probably going to have to relocate these ears to the new bracket somewhere. So if we measure right now from the center of the swing arm bolt, the ears are center to center. So center of the swing arm bolt to the center of the ear is 5 3/4, 5 7/8. So 5 7/8 for the ears to there. So whenever we put the new extension on, we're gonna have to make sure we match that. So I'm gonna write that down up here on my 5 7/8. eighths, 2 ears. So I just wrote it down up there. Okay. So now I hate doing this. I don't want to cut, but it needs to be done. Two inches. We're going to cut it at 2 inches. See how thin? Super thin. So 4 inches. Not a lot, but it is. This is 3 1/4 wide. 3 1/4. So my plan, if I mark my steel here 3 1/4, and I make 2 plates, one for the top, one for the bottom, and then 2 side pieces, and then basically make a box around the whole thing on both sides, and then see if that gives us what we want. This is 6 inches long, so we don't need it to be 6 inches, but we can use the extra few inches to overlap, if that makes sense. So we're gonna mark this at 3 1/4. The first goal right now is to even see if this will cut. I'm not sure if my bandsaw is gonna cut this. This is like building steel. It's 1/2 inch steel. And the bandsaw blades I have are made for thin metal. This is obviously not thin metal, so let's see. Well, it's cutting. It's a smaller bandsaw, so it doesn't have a whole lot of range. So I only cut a little bit at a time. I might end up having to take the sawzall to finish it. Okay. A little on the tricky side. A little on the crooked side. Look at that. Hideous, but so my thought, I like this. Obviously we'll do another one on top to pancake it in. And then we'll space it out to where it's, you know, where we want it. Which 4 inches is like that. And that gives us plenty of meat on the bone here to weld to. And then we'll do the sides to enclose it, maybe. This is like ridiculously thick steel. I don't know, I might even have a hard time welding it up to this because this is pretty thin. So I'm gonna have to go pretty hot to get this to really penetrate. So this whole idea just might fail. And I could do this with some thinner steel, but I don't know. All right, so I got it tacked and it seems like the welds are pretty good. So I'm gonna go ahead and lay a couple of beads around it and we'll see how it looks after that. All right, so my phone died. I'm so sorry. I keep saying I'm gonna charge my phone before I film and I keep forgetting. But it died. The kids wanted to go for a ride, so I let them ride their four-wheelers. But I did finish, well, semi-finish, it's not done. So let me show you. Again, I'm not a welder, ignore my welds, but they will hold. So I got it welded on here, and then it's welded on the inside. It's welded on the front, on the side, on the bottom, and then the same on this side. Over here, welded top, bottom, inside, outside. So it's welded all around. So we got it pulled out, and let me see. Honestly, when I fit it up, I just fit it how it fit, to where my steel plates matched up flush to the back. So my gap might not even be 4 inches. Let's see what we got for spacing. If I can get this tape measure. So we ended up getting, I mean, we could have went a lot further, but we ended up getting 3 1/4 inches. So 3 1/4 is what we did for spacing. And right now I have it bolted up to the stock position, but what that in turn does is it lowers the bike, which I'm kind of liking, to be honest. I was gonna weld the ears. See, I started cutting off and weld them up here because the original position is like right here somewhere. And that in turn lifts the bike up a little bit. But I'm kind of digging how it sits low, and I'll show you here in a second. But you can see I did start to cut the ears off right there. I started cutting them, and I said, you know what? Hold on, let me see how it looks first. So now I'm gonna have to re-weld this ear in place and tack it back, but that's not a big deal. We can do that. I was gonna grind down my welds because I'm not proud of them. They're very ugly, but they did penetrate all the way through and they're very solid. So There's a plus to that. But it turned out pretty cool. Let me show you how it looks on the floor, because I might just leave it like this as far as the spring position goes, because if I move it up, it's going to raise the back a little higher, and I'm kind of liking the lowrider style. So let me show you how this looks. It's pretty sweet, actually. Look at that. It sits super low, which is pretty sick, because if I want to make it like a drifter, it'll work out good. But I think it looks pretty sweet. I was gonna go further than 4, but I think right here where it is, it's kind of perfect. It's stretched just enough, but it's not too far out. Look at the side profile. Look at it from the top. It just looks way better stretched. And again, it is lowered now. So if I want to match the front, I got to lower. If I want to match the back to the front, I got to lower the front a little bit. But just the way it sits right now, it's kind of hard to tell in camera, but it looks pretty sweet. And it does support just fine, in case you're wondering. Where's my seat? So we're nice and solid. But before, my boot was rubbing against the back rim. Now it's not, which is pretty nice. So I do feel a little more stable in this position. And that steel is, like I said, you know, ridiculously thick. So I ain't worried about it as far as being, you know, not stable. I can always put a cross member in the middle and then weld it in place, but I don't even have to do that. Just how it is perfect. Before I work on the front suspension, I'll, well, maybe not. So what I was trying to say was maybe I'll grind all my welds down, but I kind of like how they look exposed. I mean, even if you look at some of the welds on the stock, like, bike, look at some of the welds. They're not pretty, so they're not like perfect either. And they just painted over them, so I might just leave them, maybe sand them down or grind them down to where like all the splatter is off, and then just paint everything like that. But I kind of like how this came out. You know, I was just trying to think of a way to really space it and give it the stretched look I want. And I think this worked out, you know, with some free scrap steel, and it's solid steel, so it gives me the look I wanted to achieve. I could have went further back, but I don't think there was any need to. So now I got to work on the front. What I've seen a lot of people do is they will take the mounts and move them down a little bit, and then or move them up a little bit, I mean, a little higher, thus lowering the front. But even right now, like, it matches really well with the back. It's not lowered too much on the back to where I would need to do too much on the front. Plus, we're putting new gas shocks on the front, and the gas shocks will have some adjustment as well, so I could soften them up quite a bit. But I like it. I'm happy with it. It's nice and sturdy. Like I said, you know, I'm a big boy, so I can get up and hop and bunny hop it. There's no issues with it. So for now, we're gonna end the video with that. Next video will be working on the front suspension. Once we get the front suspension down, then we can strip the whole bike. And where am I at after that? Strip the whole bike down, sand it, prep it, get it painted, get the new parts put on. I'm not gonna put any of the new parts on, obviously, until it's painted. But we're getting pretty close to assembly of the new parts, which I have most of them. Where am I at then? Okay. Front suspension. I guess that's it for now. Yeah. I hope you guys liked it. If you do, please drop me a like and a sub if I earned it. Definitely a like would be awesome. If you guys have any ideas, you know, what you think I should do on the front suspension, if I should lower it, should I leave it? Does it look good how it sits now? Let me know what you guys think. I think it looks pretty cool. I think it's going to work out for the look I'm going for. And it still holds me up and it doesn't scrape. So for me, that's a success. And I guess that's it. I'm just going to stop rambling for now. And I will see you guys on the next one.